Brick by brick. You already know what it is. We got a special joint today for y'all. Actually, we fresh off recording yesterday. J Dam, what's good, man?
Man, chilling, man. You know, I just got back from JoJo's game. So, he turned the set up.
You said you was coaching.
Yeah, they had me out there coaching today. Yeah, it's over. It's over. That's the last thing I want to do is coach my kids, man. I don't know. I got to stay in parent mode because they be listening to their coach. As soon as I'm out there, I tell them something, he be, nah, I want to do this.
Yeah, he ain't trying to listen. They don't be listening to the coach, man. They only listen to you, man.
Exactly.
That's why I'm glad my kid swims, because you in the water, bro. Like, the crazy part about swimming is like, it's like track where, I'm up in the stands. Like, we get to the thing, it's like, all right, man, we'll see you, and I just, you have to go sit up in the bleachers. You can't be down on the deck. So it's all on him. He can't even hear me anyway. He in the water. Like, so it's, we just texted. So it's so removed, and so it's hella accountability on his part, and I think that when I look at the dynamics of the sports, because I'm a hooper, obviously, and I grew up in the gyms, it's so, there's a lot of yelling, it's a lot of all this. And in that sport, bro, everyone's in there all nice and just kind of you just there, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, damn, this is crazy. It's different.
Way different.
It's way different, bro. Anyway, before we get going, hit the subscribe button. If you're watching on YouTube, hit the subscribe. If you're watching if you're listening on the podcast, because we are going to be on the podcast here soon, hit the subscribe button. We got a really dope show today, and really excited about our guest today. And I'm excited about every guest we bring on here. And we're going to bring hella guests on here that are super dope, and just, build this up brick by brick. So, anything else, J-Dan, before we get on? Man, crypto market's pumping.
Yeah.
Boston and Knicks are playing right now. There's a lot going on. But we talked about the crypto market.
Did that game already start? The Celtics game start?
Yeah, it's going on right now. T-Rent, I just gave it away. My man said they was down. They was down 20 again. But
again?
We'll talk about that though. They're in New York. They're in New York for that game. All right, let's get to our guest though. Our guest today gave Allen Iverson 25. You ever met anybody that gave Allen Iverson 25? I don't know if you have or not. And he could debunk that story if it's not real or not, but he'll be able to tell you if he gave him 25. He's the all-time leading scorer at Texas, but people don't realize or know that he's the all-time leading steals at Texas as well. A New York playground legend, coached at all levels of NCAA basketball, like every single level, and still coaching, doing his thing. Played in the NBA, so he has that pedigree. Man, this dude is cemented. Like, he's literally a legend in the game, and a lot of people hopefully give him his flowers or don't give him his flowers. But we're bringing on Terrence Rencher today, ladies and gentlemen. How you doing, T-Rench? The OG.
Good. Appreciate it. That was a good lead in, man. I appreciate that. I'm gonna have to record that. I have to get that on tape clip and use that now. But I appreciate it, man. It's definitely an honor being on with y'all, man. I appreciate you fellas.
Yes, sir. Do you give Allen Iverson 25 or what's up? Was that real?
It's only real because it happened, but it was the summer league. It was NBA summer league. You know what I mean? And it was actually his rookie year, my second year. But I mean, I think we were matched up a few times. But yeah, I gave him 25. Let's just go with that.
yeah, own that. Own that.
But he definitely, you know what I mean? I definitely saw that crossover live and direct a couple times. You know what I mean? Right here, right live and direct. I was over there, he was over here, so it's real. The AI cross is a real thing.
He said he gave you one of them, huh? Or a couple of them.
A couple of them. He gave me a couple of them. So, you got to respect it. You got to respect the greatness.
Man, who plays, like, just off the top, who plays like AI and like, because he's a volume shooter, obviously. Like, you're gonna have to guard. You're gonna have to guard that night.
Yeah.
So like, but in terms of being a volume shooter and it's like people knew, who plays like him right now? Like, is there anyone that you think plays like him?
I like, in terms of attacking the basket like that, no. But I mean, in terms of just the volume and putting it on his shoulders, probably the closest thing, probably in a different way, maybe Trae Young. I mean, it's different. But in terms of just the volume and small guy, just high usage, making it happen, maybe that might be the closest thing to it in terms of that, in my opinion.
Yeah, I didn't think about that. Tell us a little bit about yourself, man, because I know a lot of the guests on, like, for Brick by Brick, especially like J Dam's generation, like a lot of people, like I grew up watching you. I grew up with BJ Tyler, Reggie Freeman. You know what I mean? Like I remember like you that was my high school, literally my high school years, waking up on Saturday watching y'all. And who was there before that? Travis Mays? Was it Travis Mays?
Travis Mays,
Yeah.
Joey Wright, and Lance Blanks, and those dudes. Yep, yep.
Man, like Texas had a run, y'all had a run in squads, and so it's kind of a trip. We were just talking like it's a trip now. Now you on the show, and we tapped in. So tell people about yourself, man. That don't know
Yeah,
about the
yeah.
the legend of T Wrench.
That's dope, man. You definitely was around, or you did your homework, one of the two, to know those
Nah, I
facts.
was
But
there.
yeah, I'm from the Bronx originally. You know what I mean? I did the whole ground outside concrete. You know what I mean? Played all day, every day growing up. That was a city game back then, and I just it was around us. Like, basketball was everywhere. You know what I mean? But amongst other things, obviously, in the Bronx during those times, in terms of trying to achieve for real, like that was the game. And I just took it serious, man. It was just something I love to do. I could do it by myself. Didn't need nobody. You can go out there on your own, whatever the case may be. And it was just at the time, New York was one of the more competitive places. So just growing up from the age of 8, 9, 10, and against kids from all through the city, you sharpen the sword. And, that led me to be the player of the year in high school. Went to Texas, like you mentioned. To this day, still the all-time leading scorer in steals, like you mentioned. 30 years. This will make
That's crazy,
it's
bro.
30 years, man. And I think it's pretty safe. Just to, how the landscape is now. Dudes ain't staying in school or even staying at one school. So,
Yep.
For
uh,
real.
you know, it's weird because when you're doing it, you're just doing it. It wasn't. I never grew up saying I wanted to be the all-time leading scorer in Texas, but once it happened, you get a little older. You know what I mean? And time goes by, you start to appreciate it.
Yeah.
And you know, just part of the deal, man. You always want to leave a legacy, right? And whatever we doing, you know what I'm saying? You want to leave something behind. People to remember you by in a positive manner. I mean, I'm grateful for that at this point. Obviously after that Texas experience, I did 4 years there because that was kind of the thing. Not to say that I would have left school early, but back then, if you left, you left. It was no
Right.
to test, or what was no testing. It was you
Yeah.
in or you out.
Yep.
And after my freshman year, the draft was I think that was like Shaq, Christian Laettner, like grown men in there, man.
Yeah.
That was nothing for me at the time. So 4-year player. Then I got drafted in the second round in 1995 by the Washington Bullets. How about that? Got
Did you
traded
ever
on
get
draft
it?
night.
Did you go
No, I
out there, or
got
did you get
traded
traded on draft night?
draft night to the Heat,
Yeah, that's right.
and that was the very beginning of Pat Riley's
Yep.
takeover. Spoelstra was the video dude. He used to be downstairs and just running the tapes up and down, which is crazy to think. Um, and it was a great experience. Obviously Pat Riley wasn't a big rookie. He wasn't big on young guys, so playing time was kind of hit or miss here or there. I played a little bit, but not a whole lot. Then ended up getting traded to Phoenix at the trade deadline, and that was Barkley, Kevin Johnson. But it was their
That's
last year.
right.
It was after the run. They were It was over. It was done deal.
That's right.
So I got out there for the second half of the season, and then just don't get me wrong, like that. To say you touched the association and got a bucket, made a three, got a dunk. Got stats in there, however meager they may be. To witness like the other side of it. If you're not a guy, like I got put on IR when I got to Phoenix, and I was healthy. But what could I
Oh,
do, man?
yep.
Like just seeing how some of that stuff maneuvers,
Yep.
it could be kind of difficult to deal with at times. But um, that's part of the business. And then my second year, I signed with Cleveland as a free agent. I was the last dude cut at the end of that preseason, and that season I played in the CBA, which is now kind of like the G League.
Yep.
Used to
Yep.
have the Yakima Sun Kings just come out there and play.
Oh, you was in Yakima?
Yeah, I didn't play in Yakima, but we came out and played them a few times.
Oh, okay. Yep. Yep.
Those days, staying at truck stops and all that. And then after that, I did 10 years in Europe. So did a year in the league, year in the CBA, and then I went overseas and just enjoyed that. I had a full run, man. Even just thinking back on the places we lived. My oldest daughter was born in Germany.
Yeah.
Living amongst different cultures and seeing how they move on that side of the pond.
Yeah.
Again, as you get older, you look back, man, and reflect. Just grateful for those experiences and opportunities. Again, all in the name of basketball.
For real.
What's your favorite country you played in?
Man, you know what's crazy? I'm gonna give you something crazy because I played in Italy, Greece, Croatia, Spain. Not Spain. I'm sorry. Italy, Greece, Croatia, Germany, and Israel. Israel probably was my favorite spot.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, just
Interesting.
in totality. You know what I mean? Hooping, lifestyle. You know what I mean? All of the above. Israel might have checked all the boxes. You know what I mean? Quietly, people don't know that. You know what I mean? Because all
That's
people know
interesting.
is they think everything is blowing up over there.
Yeah, and when you when you was there, were the fans as crazy as they are now over there? Because I see the highlights of the games, and they love hoop, like diehard fans.
That's the best part about playing over there. Like,
Yeah.
the joint be packed 30 minutes before. They making up songs. They
Yep.
firing up the flares and
smoking cigarettes up in the joint.
It's just the energy was crazy. But yeah, I got some crazy. I was playing in Croatia, right? So I'm playing in Croatia and Split. This is where Dino Rogers from his old team.
Dino Rogers, the hoop.
Yeah, and we playing against the rival, like right up the road. But it was, rivalries over there hit a little bit different. You know what I mean? Because those people are really in tune with their town, man. You know what I mean? Like with their place. So we play a rivalry game, and I'm at the free throw line, and a couple dudes under the basket hitting me with the monkey look. You know what I mean?
Oh, what?
Yeah, crazy. Me being me, I grabbed. You know what I mean? I thought I did a subtle grab of the crotch on him. You know what I mean?
Pause. Yo, that's crazy.
Well, apparently everybody saw it. They started throwing all types of batteries, coins. They had to rush us downstairs. Like they almost had to cancel the game. We ended up finishing it. Then they had to get the riot police with the shields to get us to the bus. Oh, it was nuts. It was nuts. All because they did the monkey side of me.
Right, for real. I know you've seen all kinds of stuff like that in the game in terms of just race, just straight up racism. But we'll get to that. Yeah. What's the difference between like hoop over there versus hoop over here? And do you feel like, I feel like it seems like we're getting back to the essence a little bit, or like the officiating in the playoffs right now is trying to get back to the essence a little bit. But back then, like, or even just now to then, like, what was the difference between Euro hoop and NBA hoop? I feel like I kind of know, but I'm interested to hear what you say because you actually did it.
Yeah, for me personally, like I can speak for my personal game. Like when I started playing FIBA over there and under in those rules, I had to kind of slow my game down. You know what I mean? Like literally, like slow down a touch. You know what I mean? Because in the NBA, my experience was it's space, but that space, because of the size and speed of the athletes in the NBA, that space like gets eaten up really quick.
Yeah.
So in NBA is just trying to explode, trying to get to your spot, trying to get to the through before the help gets there. But in Europe, it's already the game is a little bit more condensed as it is, and I mean they're so fundamentally sound, and the rules of there's no you can play zones, you can do all that stuff. So you got to kind of slow yourself down and be a little bit more cerebral. To be honest with you, you know what I mean? It's not can't just run and jump over people all day in Europe. And then if you look back, like even AI, speaking of AI, he went to Turkey, and it just didn't really work for him. Don't get me wrong, he was a little older and things of that nature, but his game didn't really translate as crazy as it sound, the great AI, because it was based off that bing bing, and you got to be more selective with your pace. That's my response to that.
Interesting. Yeah, that's interesting because I feel like the way the playoffs this year specifically are being officiated, I feel like they're trying to get back to the essence a little bit, not a lot, but a little bit, especially with, and this is my, I got my tin hat. You see my takes. Now that they're going back to the NBA on NBC, and they got the old jingle, the dun 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 dun. I'm seeing the commercials now and the promos. And I'm like, oh, okay, they're tapping into the old heads, and trying to bring it back just a little bit, just a touch. That's all. That's a little take I got.
I agree with you.
I'm peeping game.
They are, letting them play a little bit more, this spring in terms of the physicality, and I think it's needed to a degree. Nobody wants to see, hand checking and the Bill Lane bids. Nobody want to see that. But I could do without the foul baiting and all of that, the extras. So if we can get that under control, we'll be all right. You know what I'm saying? The game. I don't think the game's in the place on the negative side that a lot of people will try to slot it in at this moment either. You know what I mean? It's not as bad as people try to make it out to be. The product I'm talking about in general.
Yeah.
It's just everybody got a voice now, so you're gonna hear every single thing every person got to say, and it just kind of gets crazy at times.
Yeah, I'm just trying to. I mean, man, there's a few things I want to talk. I mean, because it's up to you what you want to touch on and what you
I used to
don't
do
want to touch
whatever. I
on.
mean, I do it all
Because I
because, to
see,
be honest, go ahead. I'm
because
sorry.
because how we met. So I'll just tell people how we met was you was coaching at San Diego with my boy Sam, and I remember the beach when we went down to the beaches. I'll never forget that day. Anyway, I was crying.
Uh, that's
Uh,
crazy.
and CG and shout out to CG and all the rest of the cats. But and so when I first met you, it was on some cool shit. You know what I mean? Because I've met I mean, obviously I'm that's my man. That's like my brother. So like I've met all of his assistants and all his people, and I get down with pretty much everybody and anybody. If you a hoop head, then I'm a hoop head. Then we gonna get down. Pause. And so that's how we met. And on Twitter, obviously, you're gonna tap in as the OG, and I respect what you have to say about the game because I grew up watching you. So, but I got my own takes. I'm a former coach. I played hoop, still playing hoop, and so that's the connection for those, because a lot of people from the town, like in Tacoma, probably like, damn, how the hell, like, what's the connection here? This is kind of random. And it's like, nah, this is just a game of basketball, man. Bringing people together, bringing hoop heads together. That's all it is.
You like
And
that?
music
So you
too.
like that?
And
Yeah,
then
for
and then
sure.
what that was the connection really was like, oh, okay, you really tapped in, because I was like, oh, you
Yeah,
talking about West Side Gun and Benny and all them. I'm like, oh, okay, so you in New York, you a boom bap head. You
yeah.
grew up on the shit that
Yes,
I
indeed.
listened to too. So like, yeah, there's more
Yeah,
connections
like
there.
we can even switch gears to that real quick, just to give you my
Yeah,
background in that realm. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? Just I'm 52 right now. You know what I
yeah,
mean? Again, like I'm from the Bronx, so I got a brother that's 5 years older, and I was with him all day. He hooped
yeah.
and was outside just running around with him. So literally, this hip hop thing, like I got to really, without trying to sound too crazy, I really had a chance to see this thing literally from the beginning. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like before radio, before
Yep.
it got to any of that. Like, and I remember vividly, you know what I mean, how that went down, man. So it was kind of cool. Just again, as you get older and start to appreciate stuff, man. Like especially what hip hop is now. You know what I mean, in terms of just the dominant genre of not even just music but culture, language. The
For
whole the
real.
whole culture of what we created is just infiltrated the world. So that's cool to see. But yeah, man, I remember like the park jams. You know what I mean?
Man, that's
Somebody
crazy because
somebody
it
had to
was.
take that. That was the music for the week. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
people don't realize it was born in the Bronx. Like you were literally at the birth center of the genre, which is
Yeah, I
crazy
mean,
to
I
me.
still remember like right before it really hit, like I was probably like 3 or 4, right before, you know, when it went from Michael Jackson to
Hmm.
Sugar Hill Gang. Oh, this is crazy. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
to Melly Mel and the Furious Five and all of that, and just kind of seeing, and obviously through the Run DMC and coming up through the Slick Ricks and Dougie Fresh, Bismarck, and then for us, man, in the Bronx, like when KRS came, like that was.
That was my guy. That was like,
It,
he
man.
was
That
the
was it
one
with
to
the
me.
battery. That put the battery in our back in terms of being from the Bronx and having planting a flag in hip hop, and then just to see it evolve with Kane and Cool G rap and nah, man, it's hooping and hip hop just one and the same to me, pretty much.
Yeah. I tell people I could teach a class on like the ascension of hip hop and the ascension of hoop. To me is post AI and pre AI. Like in terms of the way I look at basketball, kind of like how they call it BC and AD or whatever they say
Yeah,
with the
yeah, I feel
years.
you.
Like it's post AI and pre AI to me. Like because AI, and that's why I open it up with that, because he's kind of like he was the tipping point for where the league went more hip hop. We didn't
That
see. I mean,
bridge,
there's
yeah,
cats
it's a
with braids
bridge.
and
He was
stuff like
definitely the
that,
bridge
but
for
like,
all of that, though, no question.
yeah, he was the bridge. Like, and so it's not like there wasn't cats already doing that in the league, but he was the one that was like, the most. He had a lot of eyeballs on him, and so and that's what
I,
he repped. He was just him, and that
I got
was
a, I got, I got a question real quick.
yeah,
'Cause I'm always curious. I just told you a little bit of my background in terms of the music and how, like J Dan, like, are you from Tacoma? Like, that's home,
Yeah, yeah,
that's
yeah.
born and
Yeah,
raised.
born in
So,
Tacoma.
so what caught your ear? Like, what got you? What was popping to you in that corner of the world in
mm-hmm,
terms
Yeah,
of
I
hip
mean,
hop?
I grew up listening to hip hop because I had older cousins.
Hmm.
So, and then I mean, my parents used to listen to actually, I mean, more so Michael Jackson, Luther Vandross, um, Casey and JoJo, like slow shit growing up.
Yeah,
And then as I was getting, man, who was hot? When I was in middle school, I think I remember my first hip hop CD was like Lil Bow Wow type shit, like that. That's
yeah,
that type of stuff. And then as I got older in like high school, that's I think late high school, like I was big on like underground stuff. It was like when Nipsey Hussle first came out, and that's pretty much what I was on growing up. Like I was always into hip hop. All my friends, watching music videos all day. I was never into anything else. Like even went to other schools. Like when I went to Mason Middle School, which is I don't want to say it's predominantly white, but damn near. And even when other people would put on stuff, and it's like, man, I can't listen to this shit.
Yeah, I got made fun of. So like, I know you think I'm a Jordan hater, T Ranch, but like, I had the threes on, and because I grew up in Tacoma, so I started in Tacoma and moved out to Gig Harbor. And that's where I met Sam a few years later after that. But I used to, when I went to school, I had the threes on, and at that time, Kid and Play was out with the kid, and they were wearing it in what's the video, whatever the video was called, their first joint, and then KRS had it in My Philosophy. And so like my brother got the shoes and I wore them to school one day, and the teacher made fun of me. Even the teacher was making fun of me. They were like, those look like moon boots and hip hop will never last. It's just a fad. I had everyone telling me that, man. Parents, my mom, like everybody. I remember I bought Too Short's album, the tape. And she was like, you think your grandma would like you have now? I was like, I don't really care. Like, this is just what I'm on. Like, I love this shit. Like, they talking to me. Like, so, like shit, this is my little cup right here. It got all the old joints.
Oh, the
like
tapes.
I'm really a old school head, but
dope.
I'm a new school head also at the same time.
Nah, that's dope.
I grew up only wearing Jordans because I was born in '92, and my parents was like,
oh yeah,
big Jordan heads. They named me after Michael Jordan. I got the same birthday. If you look at all my baby pictures, only Jordans and bullshit. That's it. That's all I know. That's why whenever Dave brings up Bron being the best, I got to talk my shit.
Oh yeah, I'm in the dungeon right now. I'm in the lair. I'll be 10 toes down. I know both of y'all. I'll take both of y'all on.
It's all good. You know what I mean? It's all good, man. Nah, I don't think you're a Jordan hater. You pushing the other guy. That's all. I mean, it is what it is. It's what it is, man.
All right.
So the crazy part is I like homie too. I do. I just go ahead. I'll leave it right there.
No, go ahead, man. I mean, you could. So who do you think? Obviously, you guys both think who's the GOAT to you? Is it Bron? Is it Jordan? Is it? I know you've played against Jordan, so I know what you're gonna say. But go ahead for the people.
Yeah. I got a chance to do the whole Space Jam pickup game for a couple of days too. You know what I mean? Has a crazy mic experience. Now, just for me, and again, it's not emotional. It's just me. If I felt anybody else was better, I'd say in a heartbeat. I'm not emotionally attached to whoever I think's the best. It's just in terms of just the combinations of fundamental skill, shot making ability, attitude, rounded competitiveness, winning, and I'll be honest, as I get older, like I appreciate how he went about it. There was no excuse making. You know what I mean? Oh, we Pistons, we got to find a way to get better. There's a great team over there, and that was that. It was none of these extras. You know what I mean? It's just take it on the chin. Let's figure this thing out. And I just appreciated how he went about business on top of the ability. And I think, to be honest, my thing is, for me, the separator and with all of these guys is the 84 to 93 dude. Yeah, the second three-peat triangle, the one that Kobe mastered and figured out, nobody could do the Air Jordan one. That's to me, like that Air Jordan shit from 84 to 93 was just, I haven't seen it.
That Jordan was different. Yeah, he was an alien.
Yeah, but I'm not one of them old. Like, a lot of older dudes just LeBron not even top 10. Blah, blah, like it gets kind of crazy. You know what I mean? To me, he's the second best player I've seen, and that's saying a lot. I mean, because
I've seen a lot of Kobe.
Personally, and I'll be honest, I think Kobe's gotten a little boost off the sympathy off his death. I think because you got to remember, people ain't like that dude before he passed away.
Right.
Yeah.
I started liking him more.
Dude, people ain't like Ali back when he was Ali, but when he got sick and older and less of, what people didn't want him to be, then people started loving him. So, but yeah, Kobe, he one of the guys, he one of the ones. But I would put edge to LeBron personally. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. I feel like people are gonna do that with Bron. I feel like what both those guys didn't have was a whole media. Like there's literally Skip Bayless literally has a whole life based on hating on Bron. Like there's literal media. I feel like the racism that Bron has faced in his career it's going to be loud and clear when we go back and we look at the things that were said his rookie year, the things that were said while he was in high school, not the Hummer, like all this stuff that we forgot about almost. I mean, the man's been doing it before iPhones. Like iPhones weren't even in existence when he started playing. You know what I mean? And so for me to be that good that long is insane, man. And here's the thing too, because we have selective memories. Like you said, MJ never complained. I got a whole article where he's complaining to the league about getting fouled. You know what I mean? Like I feel like I seen some
get
stuff
that.
where what's up?
No, I got. I hear you.
Yeah, I mean, I think that we just remembered certain things. Like only 37% of his games were televised. So like the narratives at that time, in my opinion, like Stern, and I was peeping Stern and how he was moving and how they needed a star like after Magic and Bird, and so they propped him up. Not saying that it was warranted for sure. Like he was an alien, but like I saw the business side of it that was really nasty to me, where I was like, man, I didn't like how like I don't know. I've always been of that ilk. You've seen how I tweet and how I talk. I've always been I look at the world and the U.S. because of how I grew up in a predominantly white area. I saw racism everywhere, and so when I was watching the league, I was like, with Allen Iverson, Mike Vick, like I like all these athletes, and I'm watching how people respond to them and the things that they say, and I'm like, and Bron had that early on in his career. People wanted to see him fail, and they still do, and I'm like, how do we have the biggest? And I tested this in the Laker Lounge group chat. Shout out to Laker Lounge. I said, how do we have the biggest star? So it's funny how, like right now, Joker's the biggest star, right? Is there a media person tearing him down? Like literally, that's their job. When you turn on the TV, they tearing down Joker. Like that's the only thing they do. Is there one for Shy? Is there one for Giannis? Why do we not do that with international stars or at the top of the game, but we do it to the only maybe biggest American athlete we've ever had outside of Michael Jordan? And we have whole conglomerates based on breaking that man down. And I'll tell you, I think it's because he's a black man. That's one, unintentionally, but I believe that racism is so deeply ingrained in our country I think when we look back, we're gonna be like, yo, that's crazy. Like how bad we were hating on the greatest player of our generation. I don't know. It just is weird to me because that wasn't what I was getting from my MJ.
Yeah, no. It's crazy how how they go at Bron. I think part of it is the sign of the times. It's just again, we live in a loud time, man. It is very loud right now.
Social media
You know what I
era.
mean? Yeah, and again, everybody has a voice. You know what I mean? Everybody
Yeah.
has a platform to voice their opinion, and it just that hadn't changed through however the media has transformed throughout the years. Like the negative part is always going to be the loudest part, the part that people want to talk about. And now you can monetize it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
All you got
for
to do
real.
is get on your computer and you know what I mean, say some crazy shit about somebody, and you might gain a following, and now you got to keep saying crazy stuff about this guy. Now,
Facts.
next thing you know, skip
Oh
Bayless,
yeah.
25 years later, you know what I mean? Like you made a whole life off of talking crazy about this guy. And that's kind of, it's a sign of the times. I mean, we know there wasn't social media in the prior, you know, generations. Media was still loud. People read the newspapers all the time. And contrary to what some people put out there, I remember they telling him about not being good as
They were.
Larry and Magic because he can't
They
manage
were.
teammates. You know what I mean? So they all go through it to some degree. If you're at the top of the food chain, you know what I mean? Like it's gonna be some people, especially if you're a black guy, because that was the argument back then. You remember Isaiah Thomas said Larry Bird was if he wasn't white, he got in some major hot water for that. So
Yeah, he did. I remember that.
Obviously been front and center in sports. But now, sprinkle a couple black females in there commentating, so they just try to massage it a different way. And,
Yeah.
that's where I come from. Like I can see some of this stuff, man. Like it's like y'all don't see what they doing. It's almost like they put it right in front of you so vividly that you see through it and you don't even pay it no mind. It's kind of
Right.
like the mindset of people. And so it's like it's really nasty. Again, sign of the times. And he got his own on Clutch Media, man. Fight back. You know what I mean?
Yeah. He said,
Facts. I also feel like they like just the channels and new platforms are like the people that they get now come from a whole different angle. Like before, you're getting broadcasters that really love hoop. You know what I'm saying? Like the Stuart Scotts, even like Dickie V, those type of guys where it's just they're exciting to listen to. And now you're bringing in guys just to hate. just to talk shit,
For real.
just to stir up stuff for no reason. Well, I feel like it's just I don't want to say it's a bad look for the game, but if someone has a bad game now, bro, it's bad. Like I feel like the whole last year, there's no reason for a 18-year-old Bronny to be. He's not even playing. Why the hell is he on ESPN every day getting shit talked about? You know what I'm saying? And I feel like nowadays they try to tear certain people down versus uplift. I feel like they used to uplift certain people, like, oh, he made it, this and that. Like no one really expected Bronny to be in the rotation, so there's no reason to talk shit about him every day. I feel like that's just the new narrative and the new broadcasters they have. It's just to stir shit up and tear people down, really.
Yeah,
for real.
It's a hustle, man. It's a hustle, and the sad part about the hustle, and we can just might segue into something else. And I was just having this conversation yesterday or the day before. The hustle part has trickled down into the game now because,
For real.
not to say, obviously once money money is always going to create agendas and so forth, and so on. But now, with the way these kids can get to the money so fast, these kids are being put into basketball.
Yeah. Let's talk
You know
about
what I mean? Like that's a hustle now. Like he wasn't just hooping, and then they said, "Oh, I can get that too." No, they get him put in the game because, like, yo, we can get to this NIL. You know what I mean? Like with plans, that's where we got to be careful too in terms of eroding like the fabric of this thing, because you start putting kids in it at 7, 8, 9 years old because of a potential outcome 8, 9, 10 years later. Man, it gets scary now.
Yeah, for sure.
And reclassifying is now the thing that, you know what I mean? Now you're seeing more reclassifications. So talk to, I like that segue. So talk to us about like NIL, man, and how that's changed how you recruit, for example, because you've been at San Diego, you've been at Creighton, you've been at New Mexico, you've been at all these places, and you've seen the game change from a coaching perspective too. You put in work on the court, but also as a coach. How has that impacted how you recruit? How has it impacted how you go about talking to players and all that?
They created some different dynamics to the recruiting game. But, at the end of the day, it's going to be based off relationships. Now, instead of having relationships with the high school coach and the AAU coach, now you got to have a relationship with the agents too. You know what I mean? Like, because these kids like that. It sounds good. I was talking to one of my guys the other day. I was like, "You got an agent?" He's like, "Yeah." I was like, "Why?" He's like, "It sounds dope, don't it?" You know what I mean? Like, it sounds.
He said it.
I mean, so you're just dealing with more people who are just around for the bag, and that complicates it even more, because now a lot of these agents now. You're going to start skipping over. Is that a good fit? Is there real playing time available? Because if the bag is good enough, I'll go over there and try to figure it out. You know what I mean? Like, so now you start running into why guys are going where they're going. You know what I mean? Before it was, and again, let's be clear. Like, I'm so happy these dudes are getting bread now. You know what I mean?
Right.
They don't have to do how I did and come down the back staircase at night, jump in the back of the car, and get the envelope and all the funny stuff. But yeah, just now you got to dig a little deeper in terms of how does the kid really love basketball? You know what I mean? Like who's around this kid? Who really has his ear? You know what I mean? And if you can keep a kid 2 years now, I mean that's great. So you want to see if you got to go back and see, man, how many high schools? You know what I mean? You go to JUCO, how many JUCO? So just tracking just some of the things that you can dig into their character, man, because you still got to put a group on the floor that's not only talented, but they made us some of the right things, and that don't come with a price tag. You know what I mean? Like we saw Kansas State this year, Indiana this year, teams that spent $6, $7, $8 million, they ain't even get to the NCAA tournament.
For real.
You know what I mean? So you still have to put the pieces together and make them make sense, and like I said, have the right kind of guys in your locker room. You know what I mean? Because now it's really easy now. Like January come, or coach driven, whatever. I play this thing out.
Yeah.
Keep getting this check, and I'm getting the portal. You know what I mean? So it's easy for dudes to wave the white flag now. You know what I mean? Dudes will tap out on you. And then one of the crazier parts too about the whole recruiting in this era now is more than ever you got to recruit your own team.
Yeah.
Once we get to January, February, if it's a couple dudes we know we want to keep, you got to start then. You know what I mean? You got to start. What it's gonna look like, what it's gonna take. But you got to start massaging that to try to keep your own.
Damn.
So it's a never ending cycle, man, and it's crazy to see, man. Like I get, some of this stuff in terms of the law and capping kids and all of this, but where else in the world is dudes free agents every year.
Yeah.
No,
Right.
it's crazy. Like there's got to be some type of structure that they have to come up with to at least contain this thing. Because
I
Yeah.
agree with that. I agree with that.
Exactly.
Because I do like the idea of NIL. I just didn't feel like this is what it was supposed to look like. I didn't feel like the universities were supposed to be involved. I felt like it was like, oh, now I can take my name, I can go get a job,
Exactly.
I can
Yeah.
go get a brand, I can go do
Get a
this.
deal.
But
Yep.
like in terms of the infrastructure of the colleges, I didn't
Mhm.
feel like it was meant the way I thought of it. When I heard about it, I was like, oh yeah, that makes sense. Like you can go out and get a bag now. Because before they, like even at TCC when we was there, we couldn't even get a job. I was like, man, I can't even
right,
get a job.
right,
Like
can't do that.
I don't even got money to pay. Like you ain't paying me enough. I need to get a job. So like I thought of it like that. Like, oh, okay, I can go out and do the extracurricular things to make bread for myself using my name, my image, and my likeness. And maybe hopefully if I can use the school name, that'd be great too. But if not, whatever. But I can go get my money. I didn't realize the schools were gonna be so involved in it. Like
Yeah,
that
yeah,
was where I was like, oh, okay, well this is just pro sports then basically.
yeah,
Oh yeah.
yeah. Now it's just payroll. You got payrolls now.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
which is
And
fine. I'm okay with
yeah,
that on a level because felt NCAA players should be paid, but they should be employees versus like free agents if that makes sense.
yeah,
You know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah. So it's such a layered deal, man. So complicated to what it's gotten to a point of complication. Like you said, the NCAA could have been done something and for these guys and not been stingy with the $1 billion that they were getting every year for the NCAA
Right.
tournament. I mean, even if it was like, I used to say, man, just for every semester that you are eligible, put some money in an escrow account for them dudes. They can
Right.
borrow off of it while they're in
Yep.
college to a certain percentage. And then after they 3, 4 years, wherever, it's $35,000, 40, 50, whatever it is,
Yep.
start your life. You know what I mean? Like it could have been
Yep.
something in place, but then they got so much pressure and the antitrust
Hmm.
cases and all that they just said, okay, you can transfer and you can get paid, and now here we are. So
Yeah.
it's nuts.
Oh
And
yeah.
I mean, some of those stories are already crazy. We've had parents calling the collective, hey, when's the next event, man? I'm like, you got to pay the rent, pay the car's messed up. Parents are calling the people for his son's money. Like it's
That's
yeah,
that's
it gets to a
wild,
point,
bro.
man. It gets to a point where it's just obviously, like anything else, some people going to take it. Some of these guys are going to put themselves in some really good positions moving forward,
Hmm.
and
Yeah.
some of them going to f it off, and
Yeah.
get nothing out of the experience at all. You know what I mean? Except some memories
Do you
and
guys
busting it
have
up at the club every now and then.
Do you guys have
Uh,
someone like that's part of the program that ends up trying to help some of the players with NIL type stuff? Like instead of say if they are getting paid, it's like, hey, don't blow this on a chain. Or do you guys have someone that's like, hey, we have someone that's going to direct you into maybe putting something in a stock account or learn about real estate just so some of them don't blow it?
I mean, because by rule we have to provide financial literacy. So
Yeah.
Hmm.
they'll bring every periodically they'll bring somebody in to talk about taxes or entrepreneurship or
Yeah.
Yeah.
credit or whatever the case may be. Young dudes, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you
Yeah.
gotta
Put
Yeah.
on
have
stuff. Yep.
somebody. You gotta have somebody. Because I can go back to my experience. Like if I knew what I knew, obviously now, like, and nobody tell me, yo, when you get your
Yeah.
first check. I'm in Austin. Listen, I'm in Austin, Texas, in 1995. Think about real estate in Austin, Texas, in
Oh
1995.
damn, bro.
Yeah.
If I and I'm not blaming anybody, but if I had somebody like, yo, listen, first check, go buy a crib out here. Telling you.
Right.
Then after that, go buy another. Or every city you live in, buy some property. You know what I mean? Like if
Right.
you need somebody as a young dude that you trust,
Exactly.
that's in your ear, that knows better. Because otherwise, it's gonna be
Exactly.
trial and error. And be trial and
Exactly.
error for the most part until you figure it out.
Exactly.
But yeah, again, just to answer your question, yeah, they got box checkers for that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
Yeah. For sure.
is it how effective? We don't know.
Yeah, for sure. That the reason I ask is the reason we're doing some of this pod is like we like to bring up some of this stuff because we've had stories on past episodes where we're talking about opportunities that we missed out on personally just
Right.
because we didn't have someone that was putting us on game and we were just, I mean, for lack of a better word, we were uneducated in terms of investments. Like we missed out on Bitcoin or stocks like in college because we just didn't know what it was. We didn't know how to even getting pre-approved for homes. Until I got older and met the right people and started teaching myself things. there was never anyone to put me in the right position to at least understand investing. Understand set my life thinking 10 years ahead. There was never any. That's why we like to bring that up, and just so kids at least mindful of thinking ahead.
And you said something that's profound too, man. And you just said you spoke on being self-taught. You know what I'm saying? And taking it into your own hands. Like that happened to me as well. When my first season playing overseas, my third year out of college, my third year, so I'm like 25. I just started, being over there trying to figure out, living overseas. I just started buying like Forbes and mutual funds. And so I self-educated on stocks and mutual funds and that part of the financial game. You know what I mean? So that's important too, man. Like, yeah, we need some help. We would love to have somebody grab us by the horns and look, guide us, do this, do that. But you can still do what you can do for self. You know what I mean? And a lot of times that's the best way to learn. You know what I mean? Like
Exactly.
digging into something that like that.
That's why I lean towards the crypto market personally, because we're in a microwave era. Like I feel like for the new generation, they probably invite volatility more. You know what I mean? And we didn't have Robinhood. They can get on Robinhood. You know what I'm saying? And get into something, or memes. They're into memes. All right, cool. We'll learn about them though, like because you can get burned. But like there is ways to do. But that hopefully as the gateway to then less volatile assets and investments. Like that's the point. The goal is to hopefully get you hooked on, oh, I can put money here and it can either grow or I can lose or whatever. And then that hopefully moves you like, nah, I don't like that volatility. And then it moves you. It's like a gateway drug. You know how they say, like, I don't believe in gateway drugs personally, but like, I feel like it's like that where, okay, I'm now looking at numbers, I'm looking at charts, and now I can go, like if I were to go to stocks, I'd feel like that's like taking candy from a baby because I'm so used to like things going up and down like 60 to 70%, sometimes 90, and in stocks it's like 2%, 3%. It's like, okay, I can do this. This moves way slower, but I know it's a longer term game for me. And hopefully the younger generation, because, they want stuff fast. They want stuff right now. And I'm like, all right, well, that's not realistic, but here's an option. Here's an emerging asset class for you that's hella volatile. But if you hold on to Bitcoin, I only say Bitcoin really, but if you hold on to it for a long time, like you're going to win. Like no matter what, you're going to win. But it's going to go up and down though. Like you just got to forget about it. Just put it over here. It's long term.
You got to hold on. Yeah.
Hold it. Just hold it.
The new generation definitely ain't thinking too far ahead. Like I've tried to put a couple young people on like, hey, put this in a stock portfolio or look out for these cryptos. And it's like, they'd rather parlay it. You know what I'm saying? They want that quick. They want that quick bet.
Sports bet too.
Want that flip? Yeah.
That's a multi-gajillion dollar industry, man. People like that. That's because it's so easy now. Like we all got that phone, man. It's so easy.
Oh, yeah. That's a whole nother element to the game right there.
Yeah, exactly.
Betting, man. Like, we got listen, man. Like players, like our players this season, like yo, man. People been in my DMs going at me sometime. Like hey, listen, you can hear it in arenas. Like I remember the first time I really, because I'm not a big bet guy. Like I don't really understand it.
I don't do that either.
Like I got an idea now, but like I didn't really know what it was. So just a couple years ago, I think I was coaching at Creighton about 4 or 5 years ago. We were up by like 16 to 18. Games winding down, like last few seconds. Somebody, I don't know if it was our team or their team, made a three or something, and the whole arena was like, oh. So then I learned about the spread, like it was the point spread, and that's a money flip. So, and I was like, wow, this is crazy, man.
Yeah.
Like, people, and I was wondering, like, why people, people still disengaged in the game. Like we've been beating the crap out of these dudes all game, and people are just, and it started to make sense. Like, wow, man, these people are really putting that pressure on these kids with this stuff, man. So that's a whole nother realm we in now. Now you got to worry about them dudes because there's been some kids caught up, obviously, NCAA football, basketball, messing around with the betting. So, not to say that, again, that's been, Pete Rose all the way, that's been around. But the access now, like you just spoke of, like, man, it's right there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, Caspi point shaving. Hey, there was that. Y'all see that? Hey, and shout out. Hey, them Terry Rozier clips, I don't know if you've seen those, but them Terry Rozier clips are comedy. Someone said that he was point shaving. He had some plays, and I'm like, hey, man, I don't know. I ain't trying to put his name out there like that, but that was,
didn't
it was
look
a funny
good,
tweet.
though.
It didn't look. It wasn't a good look. I ain't saying that he was doing it. I'm just saying it was funny because people are always looking for that angle. You know what I'm saying? And it's a thing for sure. I don't know. It's just funny.
Jonte Porter.
Yeah, he got caught up.
He
He
had
got
someone
caught up.
bags on. He was betting on himself, right?
Yeah.
Shit,
Yeah,
Tim Donaghy.
Underperform.
Let's
Yeah,
talk about the refs.
Like,
Let's
you're
get
under.
off the players and talk about the refs.
refs too.
Because the refs is in it. Like they got more control over everything to me. So
Absolutely.
like they're the ones to me that I'm looking at. And I know it's not a lot of. I mean, I think that they have a lot of control and manipulate the game in ways that the casual fan can't see because they'll do it using momentum plays. They'll control the game using momentum plays, so they know if this dude goes and this dude has 3 fouls over here. We see it in high school sports. Like it's the same thing. It's not any different. And I just feel like there's too much money to be involved for someone not in. There's always a bad apple in every bunch.
No question. Yeah.
I'm not saying it's everybody. I'm not saying it's but there's always something.
Oh yeah.
So if you're looking at like the league right now, T Ranch, who in the league reminds you of your game? Because if it was me, and I'll say mine, who I thought it was, but he's not playing anymore, Michael Redd. Like I felt like Michael Redd was like kind of like your game, lefty. You know what I'm saying? Could shoot it, could score
Good comparison.
in bunches. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like when he came along, I was like, oh, that's just like T Ranch.
Yeah, that's a really good comparison. I never thought of that one, but that's pretty good.
Yeah.
In the league right now, it's hard. I don't know. It's hard to say. But I'll take Mike Redd, man. That's good.
He said, Mike Redd's a bucket.
He's a little taller. He was probably probably having about an inch. But yeah, good mid-range game. You know what I'm saying? Athletic enough, quick enough to get to what he wanted to get to. Yeah, I'll take Mike Redd light. You know what I mean? I'll take that. Well, yeah. Let me ask y'all though. So how, obviously, we all grew up hooping. And that's one of the things.
Yeah.
Who did I ask you, like, who did you grow up pattering y'all's game at? Like, who did you watch? Like, man, I wanted to move like that. You know how you are as a kid. Like, who was your guys? Who were your guys growing up?
Go ahead, J. Dan.
Doesn't matter. Like, you could throw out the dude from the boys club. I don't, whatever.
Yeah.
Man, when I was young, growing up, always watching Jordan stuff. But I remember when I was in like high school, college, I was always practicing certain moves that Isaiah Thomas was doing here. Like especially I saw him at Curtis play when he was dropping 50 at the Dome. But when he got to UW, man, I was in the lab doing a lot of his stuff. And then once I got to college, I started watching a whole lot of tape of guys that were probably like a year older than me, like guys like Isaiah Briscoe. And I think he's a Jersey cat, but like
Isaiah Briscoe.
Yeah, like the way he moved, just to wiggle his change of pace. Because I was quick, but not like super fast. So like just his change of pace. I think when I started really watching Isaiah Briscoe, I think that really changed my game because I go from super slow to quick, and then I think that's probably had the biggest on my game because I feel like my senior year and overseas I probably played the most like him in terms of change of pace and wiggle.
Man,
name. That's dope,
Isaiah
bro.
Briscoe. I ain't heard that name, and man, that's crazy.
Oh yeah.
For me, it was a lot. It was just depending on who I was watching at the time, like Mike Dickerson. So I always wanted to shoot like Michael Dickerson. Like I felt like he was the best player I'd ever seen at that time. I remember me and Sam actually went to go watch him and Jay Terry go at it. Jay Terry was at Franklin. Jay Terry was playing for CAY when I was playing for CAY, which is now Rotary. But they used to practice like the couple teams up above us, and we were like, the coach was like, "Yo, Jay Terry's a All-American." We were like, "Him?" And he was a sophomore. I was an 8th grader. And everybody on the team was like, "Nah, he ain't that." And I was like, because we just knew because we saw him. He was right there at practice all the time, playing on the other court. Like so, like Mike Dickerson, we all looked up to a lot here. But my guy was Chris Webber. I was a real big Chris Webber fan. But in terms of my game, like in terms of now, like it grew into though because I was a tweener. I'm not a shooting guard, but I'm not in community college. I had to play every position pretty much, so I turned into Draymond. Like that's who I kind of turned into. I knew every position. I could play every position. You could put me anywhere, and I knew the play. You know what I'm saying? Like, and so I was kind of that tool that could, and I was tough, and I was willing to foul niggas.
He was a crash out.
Yeah, man. Ask about me. Like, still to this day. Like, I was just hooping against a young bull on Sunday, and I matched up with a dude that was just playing at St. Martin's. Like, I know he's just right out of season because I see how he's moving. Pause. And I'm like, yo, I got to win this matchup, and the only way I'm going to do it is if he comes into the key, you go under the ground. Like, so he gets hacked. I hack him. Boom. because we don't got no subs. I'm playing with 5, right? And I'm like, bro, I'm too old to be doing this, first of all. And then like another time he gets the ball on the sideline, and so I know he's there, and I'm just gonna take the foul. I'm just up in him like this, and he falls out of bounds. Starts like, what the fuck, dude? And I'm like, all right, cool, I got him, because he's a shooter. And I'm like, all right, cool, I got him. Like, and now he's gonna have to beat. I'm gonna win this matchup just because watching tennis is crazy. My game has changed from watching tennis, because tennis is a game of who's gonna make an error first. It's weird, bro, because my son played it, and I was like, this is weird. Like, so it's just a game of who's going to mess up first. And so now when I play, I'm just basically looking for spots where you're not paying attention, and that's when I'm going to score. Like, it's weird, man. It's like I figured out the game in a whole different way.
Yeah, you playing a different game. Like,
yeah, I'm playing a whole different game than everybody else.
You OG now, so you officially OG. You know what I mean? You just
So it's more
outthinking them, use your energy against you. Yeah, all of it.
And then some days you can't do it though. Some days my body ain't letting me. It's just like, you don't got it today, bro. And I'm like, all right, man.
That's the most dangerous part about getting older and playing, because your mind, like as a competitive dude, instinctively your mind's gonna tell you to just, you know what I mean, without even thinking, and then your body's gonna snatch you right back. And hopefully that's where it stops right there. And it's not. That's my whole thing, man. I just can't afford to be on a scooter right now, man.
No, yeah.
He said it's messing up the vibes.
Cannot afford it, man. So
y'all played against McNeese State, you said earlier.
Yeah, they was in our league. Yep. Will Wade and them boys. I mean, that was like, for this level, they got a crazy NIL. They had a crazy NIL over there. So he did, most of his whole team was like high major dudes, transferred, and he paid them good. And he coached them too. Not to say he just threw collection, but they were supremely talented and a well coached team. And it was just, I think they went like 19-1 maybe in the league.
Damn.
You know what I'm saying? They just kind of they beat Clemson, right? They beat Clemson in the first round.
Sure did. Damn, that's a good win.
Yeah, that's what we was dealing with, man. Yeah, so just like that money game is everywhere. You know what I'm saying? We playing like at a lower level, but yeah, man, we playing it, putting it together. How much for him? How much you think we're arguing with the head coach. You think he's worth that? I don't think he's worth that. But if the dude,
that's crazy.
Who's gonna pay him that? Then we got to at least match that. You know what I mean? It ain't about worth at this point. I'm not saying he's worth that. I don't think that many of these dudes are worth 2, 3, 4. Not to say not happy to get it, but
you know what I'm saying? Like,
it's not about worth at this point, though. You know what I'm saying?
In terms of the recruiting standpoint now with the NIL, I guess being a coach now, how do you feel about Rick Pitino saying like they're no longer trying to get high school guys? Do you guys try to take that angle and look more so at JUCO or transfers now?
Yeah, like what we do. I mean, we still do a good mix of high school, JUCO, and transfers. Like we feel like that's a good formula for where we are and what we're doing. I get it at the highest levels, man. Like you got they giving dudes 2 years now in college, and you got to go. You know what I'm saying? Like, so like give me grown men. Like that's I hate it for the young kids, because this is what, like, now fundamentally we're starting to get away from what this thing was kind of intended for. Like they're trying to pass rules to where it's like, who's to say it's only 4 years? Why can't I stay 9? So they trying to really do our young kids dirty. You know what I mean? And that's the part that's kind of a little bit of a fight for me. Like, man, we really are jerking these kids out of opportunities, man. There are dudes literally 24, 25, 26 playing college basketball. You know what I mean? It's like, I get it, I do, but you know what I mean? Like, you got to move out of your mom's crib at some point.
Yeah, facts. Yeah. I've seen some guys that their parents hold them back in elementary and middle school, then they do a prep year, and then now they just did another 6 years of college, and it's like you graduate at 27, 28 just to not do shit after college. It's like at some point,
because you got 2 years of JUCO now too, though, because you can, and you got 4 after that, so that's 6.
Yeah, I think it's
guaranteed.
I think it's going to get even worse with the NIL, because I mean, I'm sure it's always been around, but now you see it where it's more so some parents are actually forcing their kids to play sports and starting pages for them at a young age, and it's like they're looking at them like, all right, this is my ticket out. You know what I'm saying? We could get him paid, because I see it, man. I see it all the time here in the town, where it's like, bro, does he like this sport, or are you forcing him? You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's the toughest thing. Is like you got a 10, 11-year-old with 50,000 followers. You're recording every single thing he does, and it's like, man, he don't got a choice to take no time off.
Yeah, bro, it's crazy. My kids swim.
Yeah, see,
that's just good stuff. That's you got them on the right path, man. But yeah, I tell these dudes every team. I tell these dudes all the time, man. Like, I hope you do love basketball to some extent
Yeah.
because we all know like a season, there's gonna come a point where ain't much of this stuff that you really like right now. So you
Right.
better be able
Facts.
to attach yourself to this game to some degree when your playing time ain't right or
Exactly.
coach on your ass or you know what I mean, whatever adversity you're gonna hit because it's coming. You better
Exactly.
be able to attach yourself to some type of love of this process because if you don't, I mean, like it's
Exactly.
gonna eat you up, man. It's to eat you up.
Exactly.
It's and you know now more than ever, just because it's everything is shinier. You know, it's content people. We got content people around. I just got like 3 alerts last night with pictures of me during the seat. Like it's just, you know what I mean? Like it's content. Like these kids love it. People taking pictures and videos. So you got to attach yourself to the right parts of this thing, man. Still, you know what I mean?
For
I get all
real.
the extras. I get it. This is great. You know what I mean? Like you can get popular now and you can do all of that. But it's still
Exactly.
the main thing, man. If you ain't right, if you ain't doing the main thing right, all that other shit's going away at
For
some point
real.
soon anyway. So you gotta still gotta attach yourself to the game, the process of getting better and wanting to be a hooper. Like you don't I tell dudes like you don't have to love it. You don't have to be a retard about excuse me. You don't have to be a caveman about it. Like, you know, I'm in
Yeah.
there, you know, well, I'm watching this shit all day, all night if I can. You know what I mean? But
No,
Right.
exactly.
you do have to have some level of passion for this thing because
For sure.
it's not easy. You know what I mean? And it's a lot
Exactly.
of competition. You know, obviously there's a lot of negative, you know, you got the DMs, you got the gamblers, you got whatever, all of the noise floating around. So, you know, you better have a strong affiliation to the game in some regard to be able to achieve, man.
No,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly.
The other thing too, like for you and because you've stood 10 toes down in situations, and that's why I really like that took the level of respect like to upper levels, especially in 2021, 2022, around those times, 2020. There wasn't there like a coalition for black coaches formed, or was there something that you were the head of? I forgot because I was trying to look it up and I forgot what it was.
Yeah. When I was at Creighton, you know, during the pandemic, we just came up with it's called Coaches for Action. It was
Yeah, that's what it was. Yep.
all the minority assistant coaches in the Big East. It was about 21 of
Yeah,
us, I think. You know what I mean?
that's
And
fire.
you know, the whole thing was, man, we got to take care of our dudes, man.
Yeah.
Like make sure they good mentally. Just take care of. That was the whole thing. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And you know, we were
Yep.
doing some stuff, raising money for scholarship, first generation, you know, Big East student or whatever the case may be. And you know how hypersensitive everything was during that time,
Right.
and
Right.
it was just, it was that feel. And then you know, like you speak of, you know, at Creighton, you
Yep.
know, there was something that was said to our players by the head coach that you know was out of line, and
Yeah.
you know, I was the black coach on staff. Like you know how it go. I was the you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah. Yeah. I already know.
so you know, a lot of that fell on me in terms of the players coming at me, you know, coming to me rather, parents, AAU coaches, like it was lit for me. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, damn,
Yeah.
like you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It ain't my fault, but it's my problem now. So,
No,
you
but
know,
that's I
stand up,
call it like I see it
stand up.
for especially for like head coaches, white head coaches. I'm like, you gotta have like that's why like for Sam, for example, I'm that guy for him, hopefully, or
Yeah.
one of them. That's like a day one. That's like, nah, like this is you got someone to check with. You know what I mean? That
Right.
you can be
Right.
like, hey, what about this? Like, and he already see, you know, and so I wonder how many coaches, especially at the D1 level, when we have a predominantly black kids and black sport in that sport. I just hope that they have a day one or someone that they've known that they really trust that they can run shit by and or get educated because you're never done being educated on the black experience or these kids that you have coming into your program and the parents are sending them over, you know what I mean, on a plane and that they're trusting you to really care and care for this kid. Even if they're gonna be gone next year, it's gonna be frustrated. It's gonna not gonna be perfect. We already know that. But so that they at least are educated, you know what I mean, and continue not just educated, but because I say that like me saying it like that means that it stops. It's like no, it never stops. I'm still being educated on my own history. If I feel that way, you definitely should be getting educated a little bit more. So I appreciate you doing that, and you know I think that was an important look, and hopefully in the future we have something else because I have a feeling in the next 3 years there's going to be an event. There just is. There already has
Yeah.
been a
Just
bunch of events with the Orange Man in office. So like it's something's gonna happen and we're gonna be back at where we were. We got 3 more years and I guarantee you what's gonna happen. So
well, here's the problem with what we were trying to do. You know what I mean? Like, you know, when that situation went down at Creighton and I stood up for the, you know, for what was right, you know, it was a good like I kind of stamped the organization. That was like
Yeah, that's dope.
But then I got offered a job at Oklahoma State in the pretty much the immediate aftermath, and then one other dude left, one other dude went. So about 4 or 5 coaches left the Big East,
Yeah.
and that was it for the coalition. You know what I mean? So again, that's black people stuff.
Yeah, I already know.
You know the term.
I already
You know
know.
what I mean? You know the
Yeah.
term. Yeah. Instead of keeping that thing plugged in and keeping it churning, it just kind of went away. Like the news cycle changed, and that
Yep.
you know how it go. You know what I
I
mean? So
already
then I
know.
was like,
We
okay,
already,
on
yeah,
to the
we in it.
next. Yeah. And it was
That's with
COVID too.
every,
COVID, like everybody sitting around
yeah,
trying to figure out what we doing. Like, all right, let's get on this Zoom.
yep,
Come on, man. It was just it was sad that it went like that, because I thought it was something that had some teeth to it. It could have helped some people. It could have made some noise in a positive way, but. And then that makes you start thinking other stuff, like what was the agenda, man? You fellas were so into this thing. Now it just goes away. Like, well, what was up with that? You know what I mean? And then it
yeah.
just
No,
goes like
but
that.
I don't think it's done. I don't think, because the fact that I remember that, that means that, I think that there's going to be, a second version of that. There will be, it's not dead. I think, because people saw it and I saw it and I don't forget it. And I'm all about like reviving shit like that. And,
Yeah,
or at least
yeah,
speaking on it and, and having a take on that. And I definitely have a take on NCAA coaches, in terms of who I'm exposed to and who's the real ones, and you know what I mean? And just being around it, the sport, and how less about that, more how they talk about the athletes.
yeah,
That's what
yeah.
I'd be like, yo, that's you. They ain't your property, bro. Like that's a
Oh
Exactly.
child.
man,
That's someone's son. That's someone's daughter. That's someone's. You know what I mean? Like treat them with, at least talk about them with respect when they ain't here. Like that's all I ask. Um,
I I got a ill little story real quick, and this is how
yeah,
crazy
yeah,
it is. What it is like, it's sports, but it's still a microcosm of American society. You know how it goes. So I'm coaching at
right,
a place, and I'm gonna leave the names out right now. It's nobody you probably even know, but he was a
yep,
Division One coach. Me and him again, we didn't get along. I worked for him 2 years, and I had to go my own way just because fundamentally we were just different men. But we were
right.
having a meeting one time and talking about the team, and dude says, and you can tell like this is kind of how I guess they talk, him and his people, whatever. He's like, we talking about the guys, boom, 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 man. But you know what? They got to do what we need them to do. They got to do what I need them to do because I own these guys. And he kind of
Mm.
Yeah, that's crazy, bro.
he was like, nah, they're our guys. We like, wait, you know what I mean? Like, so
That's
you hear
crazy,
like
bro.
it's still alive and kicking, man. I'm telling
That's
you, it's alive and
crazy,
kicking.
bro.
You know what I'm
And that's
saying? Like,
that's just basketball. That ain't even, because football is worse.
oh
Football
yeah,
is like, bro, it's overt. And I'm like, yeah,
Yeah.
I gotta say, it's crazy, bro. Football's crazy.
I've
But
had to like step up even in like staff meetings. Like we might one time watching film with the staff. African kids, African dudes don't have good hands, right? Like that's a big
right,
African
right,
kid, young. That's a lot of
yeah,
time. That's the knock on him, right? So
yeah.
watching the film, and one of the coaches says about something happened. He's like, man, it's a white coach. He's like, man, that dude has African hands.
That's
You know what I
crazy,
mean? Like,
bro.
but again, like I was to a point where I told him, I was like, coach, man, I don't. I think that's kind of I ain't really
That's
comfortable with that. I
crazy.
appreciate if we don't speak that language, but the real
Here's,
part, I'm
go
sorry,
ahead.
last thing on that. The real part, though, if you really want to get real about it, is, and I know it happens all the time, and it's happened to almost everybody who's been assistant coach, because it's happened to me before I found a way to stand up and speak my piece against certain things that make me uncomfortable without coming off all aggressive and threatening. Before
Right.
that, I would hear shit in these meetings and I would eat that, like, pause. Like, then I'm at home later at night feeling like a sucker, like,
Mm-hmm.
damn, I should have said something. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know what
Yeah.
I was said. So I know dudes are sitting through these meetings and hearing all types of funny stuff
For
and just
real.
kind of letting it ride. You know what I'm saying?
Gotta
Dudes
keep the
want to
job.
keep your job, keep your check. But again, like I've found a way, and then you carry yourself a certain way too, to where it gets to a point where they know, like, all right, we can't even go there when he around. We ain't doing that. You know what I'm saying? Again, it's not because I'm gonna knock your head off. It's just because
Right.
we established a level of respect in here, and we gonna act accordingly. So that's just another conditioning component of this thing, man. You got to sit through a lot of stuff. You got to hear a lot of funny things, and kind of just go with it, man.
Right.
Again, just the American way to some degree, I guess.
Yeah.
That's crazy, man. Yeah, and I just feel like if cause in my own house, like my own family be like, man, you're a racist, because I'll say some wild shit. Because I'm quarter Japanese, you know what I mean, and I say some funny shit in the house. But the difference is I stand. You know what I stand for. You know what I mean. You know where I'm at in terms of all of that, because it's very public and it's very very overt. That's the only way that I feel like, because we all have stereotypes, we all think all this stuff, right? And so I'm not gonna say that it doesn't exist in people's minds. I just know when I hear someone say it, and I know they're not educated on their history, not my history, their history in terms of how they've impacted black and brown people in this country. I know when they're not educated, because I can hear how the tone and all that. We got PhDs in that shit. And that's the crazy part. So anyway, yeah, I just really appreciate what you've done in the space, because you've opened up. You don't know it yet, but you've allowed other coaches, other young coaches, a voice. Not all of them. I mean, some of them still don't know or whatever, don't know what to do. But that avenue is open because of what you did with that
I appreciate that.
coalition.
I appreciate that, and
For
that's
sure.
just that's just part of the duty, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It didn't even feel like something to do. It's just something that instinctively you take care of the young dudes, man. You got to take care of these young guys, man, because these kids, these basketball players, when you look on TV, them dudes 6'7", and he look like a grown man. He's still 20, 21.
Yep.
They can talk a good game, but they don't really know. These kids don't. You know what I mean? Like, they
Right.
can put on a show and they can get on their live and talk, but they still young dudes, and our job is to school them. And like, what am I here for? You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I can teach you some of this other stuff, but at the end of the day, man, like, we gotta take care of the kids, like, as men.
Facts.
Like, I gotta show you the way. Like, nah, why you thinking like that? I feel you, but nah, look at it like, you know what I mean? Like, you really still,
Facts.
like, to me, like, the OG tag, like, you gotta mean something. Like, I ain't just OG because my shit's gray. You know what I mean? Like, that's not what I'm tag for, because I wanna be able to really help one of these young dudes.
Yeah.
That's the OG to me. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Facts.
So
Facts.
that's what it's always going to boil down to that. And that's the thing about the college athletics, like, the scary part, because don't get me wrong, it's always been business, and the money and the TV contracts and all that. It's all, but at the core of it, man, like, you're still taking these kids from one phase of manhood to the next.
Facts.
You know what I mean? And if I'm with
Yep.
you every day for just a season at least, you know what I mean? That's a lot of time spent, man. So we got a duty to do. You know what I'm saying? I see you live over at Foss. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like, that's what
Oh,
you're
yeah.
doing. You know what I'm saying? You hooping,
Yeah.
you talking a little, encouraging, but yeah, you putting OG to work, and that's what
Yeah.
it's about, bro.
Trying, man. Can't stay out the gym, bro. I'm a gym rat.
Yeah.
J Dam, you got anything else for T Ranch before we
I
start
got
wrapping
one more.
it
I
up?
got one more. Only because you was Mr. New York, and I've been seeing it with a lot of New York cats. So obviously, a couple of weeks ago or a month ago, Sebastian Telfair came out saying that he's the best player ever out of New York. So I seen a whole bunch of New York dudes like, man, hell no. Who's your top 5 players ever out of New York, and how do you feel about him
Ooh,
saying
that's
that?
a good question.
Because with me being
That's
young,
a good question.
I really turned up my grind when Through the Fire came out too. When they dropped that, but obviously there's way more OGs before him that did a lot more than him. But when he
Ooh,
came
I
out and
can't
said
wait to
that,
hear what you say
I
on
want to
this
hear your
one.
top 5 for sure.
That's a dope question.
I
Dope.
love
That's
this
dope,
one.
man. That's dope. And again, I just like how the game is tied this thing in from over there to over here, man. But man, that's real. Bassie is it doesn't surprise me. You knew he's a Brooklyn guy, not just a New Yorker. He's a Brooklyn guy.
Yeah,
So yeah, for him, he's the guy. Now I don't agree. I don't know if anybody agree besides him. But my top 5 all
Stupid.
time New Yorkers, man, it's so crazy. All right, Kareem, that's easy. Kareem, that
Okay.
dude's like not even
Yeah,
close.
yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah.
Like a different stratosphere. You know what I'm saying? Kareem, Steph Marbury was the
Yes.
second. He was a high school.
yeah,
Crazy.
With
For
the part
me,
down the middle too.
yeah.
yep. For me, my guy growing up, and he was a couple years older than me, and I got a chance to get to know him and got a real relationship with him to this day. Kenny Anderson, like
Yep.
in high school,
Mm-hmm.
kidding me, lefty like me, like that was a dude. So that's 3, right? Kareem, Steph, Ka. Number 4, and this I ain't at this point I'm just gonna fill these last 2, and I didn't see him, but my pops and just the legend of it, Connie
Okay.
Hawkins,
Yep.
the Hawk.
Yep.
And number 5 for me is really hard. I'm gonna give you the pod that I'm gonna pick these guys out of, because you still got your Bob Cousy's and Lenny Wilkins. Now Lenny Wilkins is crazy. I can't I don't want to
Yeah.
put too many of those guys. You know what I mean? But I just
Yeah.
want to mention that I know my history. So your Lenny Wilkins, Bob Cousy's, all of that. But for me personally, that last spot will come down to Chris Mullin, Mark Jackson, or Rod Strickland.
Mm.
Mm,
And it's just me
It's
growing up
hard.
as a shorty. This is my short. Those are my shorty
Strick.
guys.
yeah.
But for me, if I'm gonna pick out of those dudes, Chris Mullin.
Ooh, the shooter.
Sound crazy, but you got to think.
I mean, he went to St. John. Yeah, I mean,
He was a
he
3-time Big East Player of the Year.
yeah,
You know, 3-time
Yeah.
Big East Player of the Year.
right. Chris
Dream
Mullen was no
team.
joke.
I mean, Chris Mullin was the one, I swear to God, before I let y'all go, the one white dude that I always wanted to be like. I wanted to try to do some of the stuff on the court.
Yeah. Everybody wanted to. He was black. Just like I was saying, Chet Holmgren's black. Like there's some of them that's just like, yeah.
Those are my 5. Yep. Kareem, Kenny Anderson, Steph, Connie
I
Hawkins,
love that.
Chris Mullin. Yep.
All right, before we go though, too, you got another story because I don't know if J Dam knows about Felipe Lopez. You played against Felipe. Did you play against? You played against him because that was around my high school years. So did you play against Felipe Lopez? Did you give him the business? Like what's the story with Felipe Lopez, man?
Great
Because
story about Felipe. Oh,
he
man.
he was like on the cover of SI. Like
Yes.
he was the next one.
Yep. Felipe was the next one. Like they started talking about him, and like I think he came over from Dominican like 6th, 7th grade.
Yeah.
So that's when
Yep.
his name started bubbling in the Bronx. So he was a freshman my senior year, but he had already
Okay.
they had already like said he was the guy. But it was our year. Like that was my. You know what I mean? Like slow down, young fella. He was talented, but he wasn't strong enough, and he just didn't. I knew the game too. I was too far ahead of him with my understanding of the game, and he'll tell you to this day. Like he said it all the time. I was the only dude in high school that tore him to pieces just because I was senior year. I wanted it. You know what I mean? Like I was trying to get that chip. I wanted to. Like I had an ill chip on my shoulder. No way, this freshman, 14 years old.
Yeah.
No, I was more advanced at that stage.
Yeah, he was a freshman. I could see how like
Felipe was about like he was 6'5" athletic, handle it like he you know what I mean, turned into a pretty good shooter.
he was cold.
Obviously, he was a had a good career at St. John's. Was a first round draft pick. Had some time in the league. Outstanding dude. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
got the
he was
real
cold.
Latino spirit. Dominican guy, and Felipe was a guy, but not at that time as a 9th grader, he wasn't ready, coach. He wasn't ready at that point.
All right, let's see if you can name the I'm just not even name it. I'm trying to get money like Felipe Lopez, the beat nuts. That line sticks in my head whenever I hear Felipe Lopez. I just think of the beat nuts. It's called Get Funky on the second joint that they dropped. Anyway, that's some old New York hip hop shit.
Last thing on some hip hop shit before I let y'all go. Give me. I don't want to hear all time. Who's the guy for you? Like your personal all time hip, like the guy.
The guy? Oh man. Okay, let's go.
Just one. You
already know my
but one guy, man. If you
one guy, the God MC, Nas.
Okay,
it's Nas. Like for me, it's Nas. So anyway, that's my favorite artist. That's my favorite. Yeah, Nas.
Man, for me, I don't know. I didn't even listen to Nas like that. Like, I mean, I grew up listening to Jay-Z and everyone, but for me personally, I'm taking Nip over everyone.
Nipsey, yeah, I know
just for what
that's what I'm talking about. Like
he did for me. You know what I'm saying? Like in high school, like I feel like you said, when you're in season, like, man, I'm done with this shit. Like it was always throw on some Nip, throw on some Marathon, and I was smooth. And still to this day, I'm still listening to it and on my marathons. My goat is Nip for sure.
That's
dope. What's yours, Terrence?
Oh no, Nas for sure. Like for me, the same.
Yeah.
I mean, same age. Illmatic. Like even the live at the barbecue before Illmatic.
All that.
And then Illmatic for me, like the way he came, like it was what he painted. That was my block too. Like like how you know him. Like it was, and the way he said it. Like if I could say it, I would say it. That was no gangster talk. It was, you know what I mean? Like just his perspective, and then obviously the craft and the poetry and all the other stuff. But yeah, he that was my life on the album right there. You know what I'm saying? It's pretty exquisite. So to me, Nas is.
And now, like moving forward, though, I think J. Cole to me has ascended lyrically past Nas, in my opinion. J. Cole is the best lyricist I've heard. Yeah, like that's the next guy. So, all right, man. Well, I know J Dam got to get up out of here. I got to get up out of here. I know you got to get up out of here. Last one though, put me on. What are you on? I'll put someone on. I'll put you on the whey protein. Go get you some whey protein, especially if you're older. Get you some whey protein and stay out the beef and try to get some protein in your body. I just had some Greek yogurt and protein, and I was like, damn, okay, well, I try to put someone else onto this because I ain't never ate that. So, anyway,
Hey, shot of wheatgrass too, man. Get one of those every other
wheatgrass.
day.
All right,
Shot of wheatgrass, man. That's it.
all right. J Dan, put us on.
Man, I was gonna wait till next week with you, Dave, but I guess I'll put
Oh
them on.
yeah, the Zenith.
Man, we'll put some lion's mane and cordyceps mushrooms, man. We
Hey,
Hey,
labels just finished up launching first week of June.
all right,
that's
man.
your own work. Nah, that's dope, man.
Yeah, man, appreciate it.
Yeah,
I've been
that's
working on it for
dope.
like
That's that.
yeah.
Okay, all right, no doubt. No doubt.
Well, hey man, T Ranch, I appreciate you hopping on, man, and you're always welcome to come to the Brick by Brick, just like everybody else, man. And with that, y'all tap into the Brick by Brick, subscribe, go follow T Ranch, and follow. Yeah, actually do that, T Ranch. Give them 30 seconds to talk to the people, whatever you want them to know, like elevate.
Yeah. Nah. Good looking to my guys at Brick by Brick. You know what I'm saying? You can follow me on Twitter at T Wrench. You know, I do a lot of eye hustling, man. So I don't got too much to say. I might engage with my guy, the Deacon, every now and then. But yeah, man. Nah, peace and blessings to all. Peace and blessings to all, and I appreciate y'all, man. Y'all brothers is doing some amazing things on that side.
Appreciate that, man. Let's get a smile real quick. Let me get a shot real quick. Yes, sir. Boom. All right, cool. Well, appreciate y'all.
Peace.
We out.
All right, fellas. Yes, sir.
All right, fellas.
Brick by brick.